story, we can bring in our international affairs editor, Philip Turle. Philip, great to see you. How are things looking today?
Hold on to your hats, Delano. It's going to be a rock and roll day in the National Assembly and out on the street as well, because thousands, if not over 1 million people are expected to protest around the country. Will there be as many during the first 2 days on the 19th of January and the 31st of January? That is the big question the government is trying to find the answer to. It's going to be keeping its eyes firmly fixed on all the TV screens and the reports coming in from cities and towns around the country later today. Now, magic number time to sort this all out, to make it easy for you to understand. The magic number is 289. That's what Emmanuel Macron needs as far as votes are concerned to get this bill through the National Assembly. But he has 8 trade unions, the New PES, which is an umbrella group bringing together the left wing of the Socialists, the Greens and the France Unbowed far left party, and also the National Rally of the far right, who are all against this reform and have said they will not vote for it. So no votes from them. So where can he get votes from? Well, he can get votes from Renaissance, which is his own party in the National Assembly. They don't have a majority there, unfortunately, to push it through on their own. But they're joined by the Modem of the Centre and also Horizons, which is a Conservative party of the former Prime Minister, Edouard Philippe, who was the first Prime Minister of Emmanuel Macron. So those parties are going to vote in favour with Renaissance to get it through. But it's still not enough. They need an extra 62 votes to get this through the National Assembly. If they do, then they will win. And the only party that holds the balance of power are the far-right Republicans. But many of them are not sure whether they want to vote for this legislation or not. Why they're not sure? Because they're being shouted at and insulted by their local constituents who say, we don't want this reform to go through, you should vote against it. So the government doesn't know if enough Republicans are going to join forces with them to get that bill through Parliament, and that is what is happening right now as arguments are happening in the National Assembly about whether this should be discussed or not, whether amendments are the only things that are going to be discussed. And 2 propositions have already been thrown out. One, that all of this legislation should be tossed away. That has been defeated. And another one calling for a referendum amongst French people, whether they're for or against. That has also been defeated. So more goings on expected today in the National Assembly too.
And the government has so far ruled out using Article 49.3 of the Constitution to push this reform through. But I want to talk to you about President Macron, because he sort of staked his reputation on reforming the country's pension system. He says this is why he was re-elected for a second term in office, even though he may have won the presidency, but he lost his majority in Parliament. So technically, he's not really right, is he?
Well, he said that one of the key propositions during his presidency, which is right, was I'm going to overhaul the pension bill. And we need to do that because France desperately needs a new way of people cashing in on pensions, otherwise it's going to go bankrupt. So we're going to bring the age up from 62 to 64. That is the measure that nobody in France, or very few people in France, don't want. Look, this is the opinion poll. 69% of French people are against what Emmanuel Macron has proposed. Only 31% are in favour. And if that wasn't bad enough news for the president, his popularity rating is also falling sharply. He has lost more points in the popularity polls. 36% of French people think he's doing a good job, down 5%, and only 31% think the Prime Minister, Elisabeth Borne, is doing a good job, also down 5%. That is the worst rating of any Prime Minister in recent times here in France. So we're going to see what's going to happen today and what's going to happen next Saturday when more protests are planned around the country. Trains will be able to bring people in. They're not striking, but the government is keeping an eye on those strikers. If there are less strikers in the streets, if fewer people go on strike, that will be a plus point for the government. If more people go on strike and there are further protests and more people protesting in the streets, that will seriously compromise the government's attempts to push this bill through Parliament. All I can say now, Delano, is watch this space.
Wait and see. Thank you very much for that, Philip. Philip Turle there.